it works.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Sergo. This is Kim, and today we're going to talk about our startup idea called the Tree Ledger and why you should invest in it. Now let's start off with the problem. The core problem in the carbon market credit is not supply, it's trust. Today, carbon credits are extremely difficult to verify, and impact is often overstated during assessment. This creates real financial consequences. Companies are not just buying sustainability, they're taking on regulatory and reputational risk. If a credit turns out to be unreliable, it directly affects companies' reporting and brand credibility. As a result, capital is being misallocated into projects that don't deliver real impact. In fact, recent findings suggest that over 90% of rainforest carbon credits may be unreliable. So the issue here is simple. Lack of trust translates directly into financial risk. Next slide, please. This problem becomes much more urgent when we look at what's happening today. ESG regulations are tightening globally, and companies are under increasing pressure to prove their environmental impact. At the same time, billions of dollars are flowing into carbon markets as firms try to offset emissions and meet compliance standards. But the infrastructure hasn't caught up. There is still no reliable, standardized way to verify the quality of these credits. This creates inefficiency across the entire system. So now, companies are not just looking for credits, they're looking for credible, defensible data. That's why timing matters. The demand for trust is growing faster than the supply of reliable verification.
Our solution, Tree Ledger, integrates existing data into a structured verification system. We use three main data sources: satellite data, environmental data, and certification reports. Satellite data allows us to track vegetation changes over time, while environmental data helps us interpret whether those changes are due to natural conditions. Certification reports provide the expected carbon sequestration values, which we use as a baseline. By comparing reported values with actual observed trends, we can identify inconsistencies. For example, if a report shows an increase in carbon absorption, but vegetation data does not reflect the trend, these may indicate overestimation or risk. Based on these gaps, we generate a credibility score that is continuously updated over time. Most existing carbon credit systems rely on one-time certification and project-reported data, which makes it difficult to capture real-world changes or detect risk early. Tree Ledger approaches this differently. We act as an independent risk audit layer, rather than another verification system. We continuously evaluate projects over time, focusing on financial and reputational risk, not just reported impact. To do this, we combine multiple external data sources and analyze the consistency between reported and observed data. This allows us to identify whether a project behaves as expected, and more importantly, whether it shows signs of risk or inconsistency. In addition, we enable cross-project comparison across different providers, so projects can be evaluated as a market level, not in isolation. As a result, Tree Ledger provides decision-ready insights that supports investors and compliance teams in making more reliable and informed decisions.
Now let's move on to our business model and talk about how we're actually going to make some money. Our business model is designed to scale with market activity. First, we generate revenue through a transaction fee, taking a percentage from every funded project that passes through our platform. Second, we offer a subscription model. Companies pay for ongoing access to impact reports, ESG tracking tools, and analytics that support their internal reporting and compliance. Third, we provide premium verification services, including third-party validations and deeper impact analysis for clients who require higher levels of assurance. This creates multiple revenue streams while keeping the model asset light, which is really important. More importantly, as more companies use the platform, our data improves, making the system more valuable over time. So revenue scales not just with volume, but with trust and data accumulation. We've also done a small market analysis, which is on the next slide. 탐삼성. As we can see, our total addressable market contains the entire ESG market and global carbon credits, and is worth around 850 billion US dollars. Now, our serviceable addressable market, which is who can realistically use Tree Ledger, is from around 50 to 100 billion US dollars. And finally, our realistic capture value for the next few years, which is our serviceable obtainable market, is from 10 to 15 million US dollars.
And finally, our approach is feasible because it is based on publicly available data. Satellite data such as Sentinel-2 can be assessed and analyzed through platforms like Google Earth Engine. Environmental data is also publicly available, which allows us to interpret satellite observations. This means we do not need to build new infrastructure. Instead of developing a full-scale system, we focus on a pilot approach, starting with a single project to validate the method. This keeps the scope realistic while allowing us to demonstrate practical feasibility.
Thank you so much for your time and attention, and we hope you're going to invest in our project.